And so obviously we're going to cover some of the issues with the Daystar deal. About Marcus going down there. I will say this: I won't cover what is going on with my chair. I won't cover everything that was said. And some folks said, I'm shocked. I'm surprised that Corey would even have entertained going and speaking with them. And why would Marcus even ask Corey in the first place? And all those different things. I said this. The problem with all of this is one, it's big, it's one big soap opera. There are some things that we need to kind of get to the bottom of. There are some things that deserve to be kind of dealt with the church, the body. There are some things that should be private. The fact of the matter is all of this is out in the open. And what does it seem like? It seems like one big soap opera, right? There's a show that people watch. I didn't really watch the show. I watched one or two episodes, and I saw that their whole goal was to kind of clown the church and make the church look bad. The show Greenleaf. Anybody ever seen that? It just gives the church and Christians a bad name. And so this just seems like one of those episodes. It seems like an episode of that where nothing, and I mean nothing, is being handled right. I said initially, I've got issues for everybody to go around. And what's interesting is that the issue with just, let's say, Daystar and their lineup of people that they have on the show, that's the least of it. You would think that that would be one of the bigger issues, but they are a charismatic group. And so it would make sense that they would have a lot of charismatics on their show lineup. The issue has to do with a lot of other things that I think are more important. And so Marcus called me, which is interesting because the last video that I did, here's what's funny. The last video that I did on Marcus was, pushing at Marcus. And I think you all don't realize this. I mean what I say what I mean, whether it's on camera or to you. I'll tell you, hey, I think that you have gotten this wrong. And I said, you are putting yourself in the position of a false teacher, false prophet. Now, is that intentional or unintentional? We'll see. Time will tell. And I have a history of dealing with some of the worst of the worst. Why would you keep dealing with certain people? Well, some people say this was me for 13, 14 years, even before then. I've literally dealt with the killers, the guys with 6, 7, 8 life sentences, the guys who are sex offenders, they're actual child molesters, or those that are voyeurs of little kids. I've dealt with rapists, with the worst of the worst drug dealers. So I'll take on anyone and talk to anyone who seems to indicate that they want to be helped. And depending upon how things work, I will adjust how I deal with you. For example, let's say someone I thought they were horrible, I thought they were wrong, what they did was wrong or sinful, what have you, and they reach out and we talk, well, then I will speak with you cordially. Now, the further we go along and you don't respond, then the harsher I get. Kind of like the way, and I'm not saying these folks are children, but the same way you would do with a child or a coworker, you start off with giving them a certain level of respect. And then as they show themselves to be unwilling to acquiesce, well, then you start acting a little bit harsher. And so that's how it is with me. And so I'll tell you after a while, listen, now we're just playing. Now all you're doing is buying time, trying to make it seem like that we can be buddies. I don't have a problem with being buddies, but I want to be buddies on the right term. So when Marcus called me, I was a little surprised, thinking that it was going to be in regards to what I said about him the last time. And I cut straight with him. I'll tell you, I think this, I think that. And you got a problem with it, you got a problem with it. Tell somebody else. But he said that he was going to go and talk with them. And I said, you know what, since you stepped into it, I was one of the ones that said, you know what, go down there and get the side, but there's going to be an issue. And I'll share with you some of the things that I said, and I share with him my concerns. And then when he said that he asked her and so forth, my thought was, take down the videos that you have about them. But I said, no, I don't want to be deceptive. I want them to know this is what I think about you. This is what I think about you, Joni. This is what I think about Daystar. This is what I think about Jonathan. This is what I think about Susie. All of this stuff. This is what I think about Pete. Everyone pretty much knows who Pete is. And what would just regular, now, by the way, everyone doesn't handle things the same way. Let me just say that. Let me put your comments on the screen as well. Would you say, honestly, I was shocked. Why did Marcus drop your name but didn't drop the other pastors? I don't know who all the other pastors were myself. He said he spoke to some other people, so I'm not sure. Now, the reason why I think, by the way, Rock Leach, we all know the jig is up. That's not his real name, and that's not his real voice. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. The man has a wonderful voice and a heck of a name. I want to steal the name Rock Minor. Does that work? It doesn't really have the same ring. It has to have a one syllable last name, Rock Minor. But I like the name and the voice. And wow, did Rock Leach went off on Marcus. Now I'll say this also. I saw that he put up the apology video. I said to him, that's a good step. The interview did not go, and I'll tell you what we thought about the interview prior to the interview. The interview did not go well, and he admits that. And then you see the backlash, and the backlash, it wasn't unanimous, but doggone it was almost, it's hard to find someone who felt good about the interview. And Rock Leach opened up both barrels and went and found another gun and opened both barrels on that, and then threw a rock at the end. Yeah, it was, and everyone else did too. And so I said, okay, that's a good first step. You apologizing. Now, I didn't hear the whole thing. I did not hear the whole apology. But I said, you need to put the comments on. Take your, and I won't say what else I said, but basically take your lumps. Take your lumps, because it can be therapeutic. You can even disagree, but the more you hear, hey, everyone is this, then you can address those things. One of the issues that he and I talked about even before the last time that he was on was this issue of pride. He agreed with that. Going into where he was going to be a different animal. And we talked about that. It was going to be a different animal. And so he should have been prepared for that. Now, the response that he gave on yesterday, and then he put the comment up, and then if you go back to the comments that he put up, they're killing him. They're killing him. And like I said, take your lumps. Deal with it. Just go ahead and deal with it. Now, I didn't know that he called or equated Susie with not Jezebel, Potiphar's wife. It's not a good look. Wow. Yeah, listen, whatever you got coming, Brother Marcus. You got that coming. And I'm saying Brother Marcus because I call everybody brother. Yeah, to call her Potiphar's wife, whoo, I would not have done that. I would not have done that because, and now and I'll tell you my whole take on both sides. I've got some criticisms of Marcus, not Marcus, well, now of Marcus, but also of Jonathan and Susie, and of Joni, and of Daystar, and of Doug, and of Kanan. I'm sorry, I call him Kanan. What's the guy's name? Jimmy Evans, aka Kanan from Power. I think that was part of the video that I did that bothered her the most when I called them. I equated them to being Power. But listen, you all are after. It seems like Power, because what would you guys as a family do if it were you? And I'm saying, I don't know if this child was assaulted or not. I think it is horrible if this child had been assaulted and this child does not get justice. I have no idea what that would feel like. I can imagine. I know some people that have gone through those things. A notch below of a child being assaulted is someone being accused of assault and they didn't do it. So I think you need to get to the bottom of this for the sake of the family, for the sake of that baby, for the sake of if Pete is innocent. Has there ever been anyone that have raised accusations about that and it's not true? Sure. I know some people that did that personally. I like, why would you do that? But I know some people, I know a lot more people that have done it and the babies weren't protected. So I said, here is the order of things. The order of things is, one, the name of God. The most important thing is the name of God. That takes precedent. Secondly, that baby, that child. We need to find out. Next, after that, is the family. Fourth is Daystar. And I think Daystar is the problem. There are some things that I did hear that Marcus didn't tell you guys that I did hear of. I'll share maybe one or two of those things that I heard that he didn't share with you. I'm going to go ahead and share it. And I apologize, Marcus, if I'm betraying trust. But I've heard some things on both sides. I don't know the whole story. Don't want to know the whole story. Well, I do know the whole story. And this is what I was going to do if I had gone down there. This was the goal. The goal was going to be to lay out a timeline. What happened when and so on and so forth. I'll tell you why that's important, because I want to share a bit of information that even Marcus hadn't shared with you, that may color some things, may not. But the timeline kind of puts things in perspective. But I said there needs to be a timeline. There needs to be a couple of things, one established. One, is it possible? And by the way, why I think that it would have been good for me to go, Marcus told her after she said, absolutely nope, nope, he can't go. She was hot. She was irate. Fine, I get it. I talk bad about you and your family. Amen. I talk about everybody and my family too. We are all horrible. We are all $5 worth of, say it with me, everybody, $5 worth of dirt, and that's only with inflation. But we are redeemed dirt, and so, and by the way, we'll talk about Billy Carson in a second as well. We'll talk about a few different things as well. A few things that are pretty interesting in the Christian landscape. And by the way, I don't care what side of the Christian track you fall on, if you're more charismatic or less charismatic, if you are dispensational, if you are covenant. If you have placed your faith in Christ, you are a part of the family. And that means I'm fair game for you. You are fair game for me. You don't have the ability to be part of the family, be the sister, and think that what you do doesn't affect this other sister or this brother or mom and daddy. We're part of the same family. And if you don't want people to criticize what you say, don't say it publicly. Don't put it out there. Amen. And so I think that what has to happen is there's my man. Doggone it. There's my man. Y'all gone. Cameron's here. Y'all with me? Cameron's here. How you doing, brother? But I think what has to happen, when I say fair game, I mean that doctrinal stuff. When you talk about doctrine, personal things, we don't go about. I don't want to get into, your finances, your credit score, your love life, those things. If they become sin and become public, well, then we have to deal with those things, right? Especially if you're a leader. We're not calling out everyone else's sin who is not in leadership. Okay, there's a difference. But establish a timeline and then figure this out. Figure this out. Are you willing to be wrong? Are you willing to be wrong? That's for Joni. That's for Jonathan. That's for Susie. That's for Pete. That's for Doug. That's for whomever else. There are a lot of things that need to be brought up. This issue of the marriage needs to be brought up because that's one of the key issues that they brought up. And yeah, if you are leading this Christian company, this Christian church, you got, what is it? World Fellowship or something like that. It's literally listed as a church. I think is World Global Fellowship. I forget the name of it. Somebody put in the chats what the name of the church is. I forgot the name of the church. I saw it once or twice, but I forgot it. It's not. I didn't push save to save it in my memory banks. But the marriage seems bad. The marriage seems, and your rationale that you keep giving for the marriage does not pass the biblical smell test. And so the children have a right to be. And if, listen to Jonathan, all the children involved have questioned this, you have no biblical grounds to have this unbiblical marriage. Your divorce was unbiblical. Now, Joni's free to marry not who she wants, but she's free to remarry. She should not marry someone who leaves his wife just because. Senior Conrad said the name of the church is World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE, or back in the day, WWF when we were younger. But that whole thing smells fishy, and so she needs. Now I'm going to go over some of the questions that we were going to ask. Here's what we're going to ask, and we'll just be straight and strong with this about your marriage, about your desire, Joni, to be submitted to and honored. That seems pretty fishy. It seems as though her voice is the voice of God. Even here, I get the point they're trying to make, but still, those are the wrong words. It seems as though you want to be treated differently. And it seems to be some validation of that because you say yourself that you want your children to submit to you, because how many times was the word submit used? You want to be honored. All of those different things, they have to be addressed. Joni, what about your view of not just Jonathan, no, you love your son, but to what degree? And of Susie. Her recollection of what happened with the child. That needs to be, so flesh it out. Let's go through that. Because again, that's first and foremost. Well, I'm sorry, that's secondary. The first thing that's first and foremost is the name of Christ, which is why we're in this. If this were the CEO of, Bank of America, or the CEO of Target or Walmart. We're not really into this then, are we? But this is someone that impugns the name of Christ, causes people to look at the name of Christ in a cross way. And we can't have that. We need to, the name of Christ must be protected. That's the banner that we're under. We are, most of us who are watching are Americans. And so the flag that we have, that flag represents us. Thank you. Word of God Fellowship. That's the name of the church, also known or doing business as Daystar. But the flag of the United States is what we are under. Now, not at all costs, obviously, Christ and then the country. But that flag represents one, the border of the United States, and then two, the people. This blood-stained banner, this cross, represents one, the gospel, and then two, the people are in it, those that are saved. So the question is, are we trying to give God glory? Two, are we trying to protect this baby? Remember the Bible, these are Jesus' words. He says it's better if you would have a heavy millstone hung around your neck and thrown into the sea. That's better compared to what I'm going to do to you. To hurt anyone or cause any one of these ones who love me to stumble. So we got a problem here. Is that what's happening? Is there some discrepancies, some issues that have to be brought up with this child? I'll bring it up in just a second. Why not go to the authorities initially instead of sending someone to North Carolina or wherever else to handle this? Because you do have a biblical authority, right? Because if you want to say we need to follow those that have rule over us, well, the authorities state that you have to report these things. And it might be something where it's innocent. It might be something where might be smoke, might be fire. I'll answer this question second, Victor Swans. I have no idea. To answer this question, do I think Pete did it? I don't know. And I'll talk about the 8-year-old in just a second. Or is she 9? I don't know how old she is. 8 or 9? What is she? Oh no, you mean the 8-year-old that was there? Yeah, there are some issues there. There's some issues there. We'll cover that in just a second though. But you go to the authorities. What do the police say? Now apparently there's a difference in the police report. If you do the right thing, then you will have everything done right. Do the right thing. Also, ma'am, why the cease and desist orders? Why did you want everyone that's speaking about it to not just be quiet, but to be quiet under the threat of being sued? I got one. A lot of the folks got one. Rock, did you? Rock Leach, whose name really isn't Rock, and that's not really his real name, his real voice. No, I'm just kidding. Did you get one, Rock Leach? A lot of folks got them. They're not giving them out anymore, and there's a reason why. There's a reason why. It was the worst PR move in the history of PR moves. It was just silly. It was just dumb. Why would you do that? And like me, like everyone else, I'm not. Matter of fact, now I'm gonna let everyone know that you're trying to hush people up. Not gonna happen. Pastor Rock is in the building. Amen. But yeah, he got one. Okay, they sent you one, and some people flushed theirs. Some people put it in the trash. Some tore it up. Mine was by email. Whatever. We're gonna have fun with this. And so those are the issues. Let's figure out the timeline. Let's talk about the marriage. Let's talk about the divorce. And if you would do that, why would you then come here? Why is Daystar so important? These are going to be the questions that I'm asking. How do you know? And then more than that, at the very end, my question was going to be to them, because I wanted Doug to be there. I did not want Jimmy Evans or anyone else there. It would be just because he's her husband now, rightly or wrongly. So be there, be accountable. What did you do? Now, there were some things that he said, you all didn't catch this, but some things that Doug said. Marcus, I'll let Marcus tell you, but how arrogant and cocky Doug is. Wow. The things that this man said. I won't share, but I'll just leave it at that. Now, Doug, you can't impress me. You can't out cocky me, out arrogant me. You can't do it. What? The only people that can get my attention. Let me tell you the people that can get my attention in order. God, that's number one. And he's got a myriad of ways. Lord, does he? And oftentimes they don't feel good. Two, the federal judge, the guy that said, Corey Minor, you get 240 months. He got my attention, didn't he? He got my, Third, my wife, who sometimes, matter of fact, in most cases will I take it back. Baby, the judge told me to come in. No, and my wife says, no, you stay home. Oh, baby, listen, I'm going to hear what the judge got to say. But she's third. Fourth, Joe Biden. Love to hear what Joe has to say. Joe might want to prosecute me before he leaves. Who knows? I'm kidding about Joe Biden. But listening or being intimidated by Joni or by Doug, you would have a hard time doing so. Remember, I had 30, probably not all 30. I'm not going to lie and say all 30 had their guns in my face, but about half of those federal agents had their guns pointed in my face. You doing anything or saying anything is not going to impress me, not going to move me, not going to sway me. I've been face to face with guys with shanks and razor blades. And that was really the point of Marcus bringing me, because Marcus does know that I'm going to cut both ways. He will say that. He'll tell you, matter of fact, that's what he told her. He says, listen, this man has criticized me a bunch of times, but he's fair. And so that's what Marcus told her when she said, nope, he can't come. So, listen, if I would have gone Victor, maybe it would have been a 5-minute meeting. I think it would have been longer. They wanted to take Marcus out to dinner. I said, no, don't let him do that. They wanted him to come down early and watch the show. And that's when he says that the praise and worship and so forth was wonderful and he felt the Spirit of God, that's what he's referring to. But he laid his hands out, and so they knew they had him. And he admitted so. He admitted so. Because when you're not with those, I know those people. Listen, we had snakes. We had some of the worst, some of the biggest con men ever in prison. So you see their kind. And so I look at you all with just kind of, with a squinted eye. And those are the things that should be brought out. Now, the question is going to be, are you even willing to leave Daystar? For the sake of the gospel, for the sake of that little one, and the sake of your family, are you willing to leave Daystar? Are you willing to give it up? That was one of the questions that I was going to ask. And the reason why I would ask that question, now I think it's probably a resounding no, but the reason why I would ask that question is because even if you felt like Daystar was put together for legitimate reasons, a legitimate thing can become illegitimate really quickly. When I started my business, it was legitimate from the very onset. But after a while, it became illegitimate, and that was all me. And I did everything I could, hook or crook, literally hook or crook, to keep it. Sanctified ways and also sinful ways. That's what happens. And you know what God said to do? You know what? This company gone. Matter of fact, not only is this company destroyed, you are too. You get lost. When the Lord tells me to kick rocks, I'm kicking rocks. I didn't say the judge second. Did I say the judge second? Why is the judge second? Because the judge, now I'm being funny, but the judge can say, you know what, Corey, I think we want to put you back in prison. I'm being funny though. I'm being facetious. The judge has no, I don't think, any jurisdiction over me, but that being the case, I want to know, are you willing to let Daystar go? Are you even willing to let someone, my recommendation is pull back, become managers, become on the board, do that and hire someone else to run Daystar. That way you don't have to worry about the issues, impropriety or alleged improprieties as it relates to money, because there's somebody else that's running it and that person's held accountable, because the president or CEO is not going to be siphoning or sending money off to board members. Now we've got some legal issues. Are you willing to let it go because it says that you are concerned about the main thing? That was my whole point. And then are you also willing to have reconciliation with outside counsel, not someone that knows and loves you, not someone that knows and loves Jonathan and Susie, someone that doesn't know you from Adam and Eve? That's what I want to know if you're willing to do, because it tells me if that's the case, then let's move to that, and let's also close all the doors, close all the windows, hush up everybody, all the interviews, and go take care of that. because now it's out there. And the problem is other people who aren't believers get to see this. Even new believers get to see this. Even believers who are struggling with, should I even listen to Christians anymore? Just read my Bible on my own. They hear this stuff and it's a mess. And so this is what, if there's going to be some sort of closure, some reconciliation, this is what it has to look like. And the question to her and Doug, the same question to Jonathan and Susie. What's your end goal? What do you want? Is the goal to tear down Daystar? Is the goal, Jonathan and Susie, to tear down Joni? Joni, is the goal to tear down Susie? Is the goal to tear down Jonathan? Or is the goal to get everyone in compliance, to follow you, to submit to you? What's the goal? If you're going to say the goal is to have the name of Christ be preached and to be magnified, fine, we can start with that. That can be our starting point. Now, what are you doing that doesn't look like that? And then you take everybody's story and let's see if there's some overlap. This happened. They said this happened that way. Where's the overlap? Let's start there. Where's the discrepancies? These are the things that are not being fleshed out, and these are things that must be fleshed out. These are the things that we've got to say, okay, in order to get to the heart of the matter. This issue about someone asked, do I think that something happened to the baby? I have no idea. I think the first thing that you do is you go and say, okay, let's assume something happened. Let's not assume that someone, a certain person, did it, first of all. Why? Because it's a 4-year-old. I think she was 4. Y'all tell me if I'm correct. It's a 4-year-old that makes the allegation that something happened. And let's find out. I told you all a story about my second oldest, who when she was 3, hold on, wait a second, let me count. 3 or 4, yeah, 3, she was 5, okay. Mine was 3 or 4. And she made an allegation about a screw and somebody's behind, or her behind. And she mentioned one of her uncles. I was like, wow, wait a second. Hold on. Her uncle hadn't been around, but it's possible. He's not a stranger to her. How's that possible? And so she makes a statement she's going to this daycare. Then my wife is going to school or something like that. And so she's going to this particular daycare. And so, now we're concerned too. Now, put yourselves in the position. Matter of fact, most of you guys are probably parents. What do you think? What's the first thing that comes to your mind when your child has this particular allegation? What's the first thing you think? And then I started asking myself, I asked my wife, I asked other people, what's your reaction when this comes up? How do you act? Now, I'm not saying that Jonathan and Joni need to do everything the way I would have done it, but there are just some things that are just normal for a parent to do, and some things that are not. There are some things they raise like, wait a second, okay, I see why you said that, Jonathan. I get what you're saying, Susie. There's some things where Joni may have said, okay. Me personally, again, if I have the belief that Pete is some sort of molester or what have you, it's not gonna be a whole lot of talking. It's not gonna be a whole lot of, somebody is getting me off of him or him off of me. We're gonna find out who can fight. We're gonna find out who, but if you have this notion that he's done something in the first place, to give you your spidey senses to say that, hey, he's going upstairs, baby, go upstairs and follow him. The first thing that my wife said, that if it's my child and I think that Pete might be onto something, doing something, when she sees him going upstairs, she's not calling me first. She's calling me second. She's calling me after she's going upstairs too. And most mothers are the same way. I'm going to see for myself. Now, these thoughts were there prior, and I don't want you guys to think that I'm taking any sides. I'm really not. I'm saying let's get to the heart of the matter. I don't know what he did. I don't know. There was a 1-year-old and an 8-year-old there. I want to know what the 8-year-old did, what the 8-year-old says. I want to know what the 4-year-old says. I want to know what the 4-year-old said after that. I want to know what she's saying even right now. I want to know, did she go to counseling? Has she been talked? How much have the police and authorities talked to her? Let's make sure that she has not been violated. Let's make sure. And if she has, somebody got to get hurt. Rock said, I'm taking my hands. I'm taking my hands too. Again, somebody is coming down those stairs head first. Somebody is going to, something going to happen. And then now the story is that they've had encounters with Pete. They go back on vacation a year later. They're on one of them is a video. You all haven't seen it. A video of Jonathan and Pete on a golf course together about a year or two after this happened. I think she said 2023. Marcus does have the video and the emails, and so why are you still talking to this man? Why are you still entertaining this man even afterwards? Until I find out for sure. Now, that does seem suspicious. A person has been alleged to have touched my child, and I'm out on the golf course with him 2, 3 years later. Now, the question is, this is why I said earlier, you've got to establish this timeline. The timeline will determine while they were out on the golf course, is that before or after this exoneration, supposed exoneration, took place in North Carolina? Because if Jonathan thinks that, okay, Pete's already been exonerated, okay, it was just one of those incidents, then maybe his guard is down, he feels better. But if this happens after they find out that Pete was never exonerated by those in North Carolina, so there's a whole lot of fuzziness. And I said, let's get to the bottom of it. The baby, because here's my thing. I don't think that any of the parties are as concerned about the baby as the overwhelming majority of me and you all. And I'm not, listen, this part about the child, that doesn't end. We gonna get to the bottom of this. I don't care how long it takes. We are going to get to the bottom of this. I'm not sending my kid. I'm not sending the alleged perpetrator, or what have you, off to somebody in North Carolina. No, I want to be there. I want to find out. I want to know what the police thought. Matter of fact, fine. You talk to them in North Carolina. Now come and talk to these police officers here. Come and talk to the police officer here. That's just me. Now, do I believe that the narrative that Joni is trying to portray of Jonathan and Susie and of Pete is skewed? Yeah, I don't trust Joni's interpretation of the facts and evidence. I don't. I really don't. So when I'm told that they're out on vacation again, or they're on the golf course again, or they're doing other things, then if that's the case, I want to find out what's the situation. I don't know. Yeah, it does make Jonathan look bad, but it can also be explained as well. I have no idea. So I would say this as it relates to him being and by the way, people ask, why do we keep calling him Pete? Because if you say that this person actually is being accused of a molester and he's not, you open yourself up to litigation, but also he might not be. I don't know. If I were Pete, and matter of fact, let me ask the men. Let me ask the men in the chat. Let me ask you guys a question. Men, if you were accused of something like this and you were innocent, and everyone knows who you are, they know that they're calling you Pete because everybody knows who Pete is. If I'm Pete, if I'm the person, I'm coming out. I'm saying if I didn't do this, I want everybody to know I did not do this. That's just me. Now, I would. Am I the only man? Am I the only man that would do that? Minister says, yes, sir. He says, I would have gotten in front of somebody somewhere. Yeah. Matter of fact, quit calling Pete as me, and I didn't do it. That's me. Because now you got to go around people thinking, did he do that? That's not a good look. Again, yeah, I'm going public immediately. I'm screaming from the rooftops. I didn't do it. Matter of fact, Marcus, come interview me. Julie Royce, come interview me. Smart Christian, Corey, hey, let me go to Smart Christian's channel. They don't like me, but I want you to know I did not do that. Now, that's just me. That's just me. But listen, what I don't say, and I want you all to understand this, I'll never impugn somebody for not doing things the way I would do it. We weren't. Matter of fact, I think it was Ray Curry who said this. It might have been you, Rock, who said this, that Jonathan was raised by Joni. And that was one of the things that Marcus and I talked about, is that he was raised by her, and so he's going to feel a certain way. He's going to naturally be deferential. Now, I said this before, and I'll stand by this. I understand why they did not want him to be the president of the company. They might want him to be a little bit more tougher, a little bit, so forth. Fine. And I can see that. He is not as forceful as I would be, or as I would have liked, especially to be a president. But that's neither here nor there. I'm not trying to impugn his character by him not being as forceful or as loud or as harsh or as what have you as me. He seems like he has a humble spirit. The reason why I don't trust any of them, the reason why I don't trust anybody who is a part of Daystar, except I'd be willing to trust the baby, is because I have been around folks who know how to get by and know how to scam and know how to do all those different things. I know how. I've been around it. And I'll never be the kind of person that says, well, I've heard, like, what did Jimmy say? This is what I do when I talk to this person, and I just know. The first thing that you learn when you're around the worst of the worst is that you never know. There's no way to know if this person is lying to you, pulling the wool over your eyes. There's no way to know. And so the thing is, let's get to the heart of the matter. Are you willing to have an outside independent person come in and look at this stuff and talk to you guys? There can be some reconciliation, get to the heart of the matter, the truth, bring in the authorities if need be. What's good? And again, making sure we're taking care of this baby, because it doesn't, I just wish there'd be more of an outcry, more of an urgency to make sure that what's happening with this baby be taken care of. Forget all the interviews. I'm not going on every other channel to have an interview about what was done to me. No. The only interview that I'm concerned about is the authorities, CPS, and then possibly counselor. Now the counselor, not possibly for the baby. The baby gets a counselor no matter what. That's the most important thing. If I'm the mama, if I'm the daddy, if I'm the grandma. Not hearing from heaven, God told me this. God told you that man was your husband. And wait a second, we got some biblical problems, because none of what you said lines up with the scriptures. And so my issue is, anytime that someone is okay with utilizing me on something that can be done in a biblical fashion, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. What is Jonathan and Susie's end game? That's one of my questions. Do they want back in Daystar or Death Star? Do they want a full investigation? There's an email out there that they sent out that said that Jonathan would be okay with letting all this stuff go if he can be named president in waiting. If that's the case, Houston, we have a huge problem. If that's the case, we got a huge problem. Because that doesn't tell us if the baby was violated or not. It tells us that your concern is where it shouldn't be. And again, here's what we do know. Here's what we do know. Somebody's lying. How can I say that Jonathan and Susie, I'm not saying Jonathan and Susie are weak. Listen to what I'm saying. Good Lord. They have nearly half Christendom against them. I'd say they're stronger than any one of us in this chat. I wouldn't say they're stronger than any one of us in this chat either. We're not going to say that either. What I said is Jonathan is not as strong as. Remember when the father made this decision before he died. He didn't know he was going to die, but the father made this decision prior. And so his issue was, you're just not the person yet. Okay. So I'm not saying, you said the moderator did. I can't comment on anyone's motives. The only one whose motives I can comment on that I put some suspect on is Joni's and Doug's. Only because of what we know that they've done and said. That's the issue. There are mild-mannered men who can also be effective leaders. And he could be. He could be. Again. And I think this is kind of the testosterone in me and other guys, that how you show your strength, gentlemen, men, am I wrong? How you show your strength as a man. Tell me if anyone, matter of fact, the women would agree with this too. Because I've said this before, women look for a man who can bring some security to them. What does a woman want? One of the things she wants, one of her top 1, 2, or 3 concerns is security, love and security. When she clicks the light switch, she wants to make sure the lights come on. When someone is threatening her or her family, she wants to make sure that man is going to protect them. If somebody says something crazy to my wife, and I said, baby, just keep on going. No, she's going to look at me like, listen, you better go whoop him or die trying, right? And so the testosterone in me and most men are like, you know what? I'm going to defend my wife and my children come hell or high water. And I'm not doing it. This is just me. This is my biggest criticism of Jonathan would be, this would be something that this would not be a 4 or 5 year old story. It's just me. Would not be a 4 or 5 year old story. This would have been a 1 week old, maybe a 1 year old story. That's how long it takes the investigators to go through it. However, fine. But for me, nope. And by the way, if you don't seem like you're on the side of my child, I'm out of Daystar day one. You ain't got to fire me. No NDA needed. I'm gone. Start my own thing. Go to YouTube, whatever. That's just me. That's just me. So, listen, I'm not speaking of mild mannered in the sense that how we talk. You can be mild mannered in your talk, but forceful in the way you do things. Are you with me? I know some folks that are, yeah, okay, all right, I know, yeah, okay, I just want to see, all right, and we'll cut you in a minute, and we'll shoot you in your kneecaps. That's not I'm not speaking about the way you speak. I'm speaking about the way you handle things. That's all. What did Marcus learn about Jonathan and Susie that makes him look bad? I won't cover everything because I don't know if all things are even legitimate. I've seen people lie with some fancy looking documents and some doctored emails. Don't know. They gave him a big book of emails and things like that and videos and so forth. But obviously these videos and these emails are going to be what? One-sided. I don't know. I said to him, and that's what I think, that once you're finished with this, let it go. Tell them, figure out what you're going to do and do it. If the goal, obviously Joni would like the whole thing to go away. She would like the whole thing to go away. I'm pretty sure of that. Jonathan and Susie would not like the whole thing to go away. But how are you going to get to an ends? The question that he asked, I'll say this, the question that he asked Joni, why do you think that they went to Julie Roy's as opposed to ABC, NBC, CBS? That was a question that I would have asked. I didn't want that question asked of her. I want the question asked of Jonathan and Susie. Because if I want folks to know, I want ABC, CBS, and NBC to know. I want them to know. I don't want Julie to comment. Joni to comment because she thinks that Julie's a bottom feeder and we're also bottom feeders. Okay, fine. I know what you think about us, but I want to know. And the reason why you asked that question of Jonathan and Susie is, what's your end game? What do you want? Do you want publicity or do you want justice? And those can be two different things. Sometimes you use one to get the other. But no. New York Post and Dallas News have reported on it as well. But it's after the fact. The first people that I'm going to is them. ABC, CBS. If I want to go forward. But the question is going to be, what's the point? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to get out? That's the ultimate goal. So, not that you shouldn't go to someone like Julie Royce, but the whole point is to get in your mind to figure out, what are you trying to do? Amen. And so those are the things. And then, are you all willing to be reconciled? How do you get reconciled? What must happen? Are you willing to go away? Shut up. So let's get on to the next controversy, because again, 2024 has been a heck of a year, has it not? We are about to go into this whole, we're about to see some crazy Christmas shows at churches. New Year's Eve, we're going to see somebody surf and swag and surf in the on New Year's. We're going to see some folks walking it out. We're going to see all kind of crazy stuff on New Year's. 2025 is going to be amazing, good or bad, right? We are 1 year, 1 day, 1 month, whatever closer to our Lord's return, us being reunited. So yeah, there needs to be a neutral party. There needs to be somebody. That's what, and I'll give Marcus credit for this. One, why did Marcus call Corey? Well, one, I'm in Dallas. I'm 20, 30 minutes away from Daystar. Literally 20, 30 minutes away from Daystar. It's not that far away from me. I get on this one, I was going to tell you the way I get there, but I take this highway, cut this way. I'm literally on 2 highways and I'm right there. And also, I'm going to tell you to your face, I think you're wrong. I think this. You got to fix this. Marcus knows this better than anybody, because I tell this to Marcus all the time. And I'm not validating Marcus. I'm not saying anything. Marcus is the greatest thing since Marcus messed it up. He didn't do good. I'm not even going to get to other folks' motives. If you want to see what folks thought about his motives, see Rock Leach. Go to his, when I said, again, he opened up both barrels, threw that gun away, opened up 2 more barrels, and after that threw a rock at him. It was like, wow. I saw Rock Leach's video before I saw the rest of Marcus's video. And other folks just went on. And I said, Marcus, just take it. Just take the lumps. Just take it. And then learn from that. Because this is where the humility comes in. You gotta, maybe I did this wrong. Maybe I should recognize what I'm qualified to do, what I'm not qualified to do. You can't come back and say, give yourself credit and say, the Lord chose me to do this. Maybe it wasn't the Lord that chose you. Maybe it was the enemy that chose you to do this. You can't say that. You can't say as though that because there were parts when I go back and look that you kind of pumped yourself up. You pumped yourself up and said, you know what God is going to bless me with. No. So one of the things that I said was when you interview or when you're trying to get to the heart of something, I said, let them talk. Don't give stories about yourself. Don't talk about how you can relate. Now we're coming together, and I'm going to even have, the more I tell you about myself, even though you didn't tell me more about you, we're going to start feeling like we're on one accord. And now I subconsciously want you to win. I want you to win. I want you to win. Even if I previously thought you were no good, now I want you to win because listen, spending time together with someone makes you feel like we're on the same accord, and we're not. Yeah. Daystar. I think it was Daystar that reached out to him first. I'm not sure. But if everyone, Marcus, if everyone has you figured wrong, if you think that everyone doesn't understand you, if you think that everyone has misunderstood the true Marcus Rogers, the only reason why someone feels the way they feel about you is the same reason why people feel the same way about me. The same reason why people feel the same way about, let's say, Minister Zion. The same reason folks feel the same way they feel about Sheila or Ken ID. You know what? Because of you. The perception of you comes from you, right or wrong. What could I have done or said or done differently that caused folks to see me in a true light? There's something that you're doing or saying that gives a distorted, according to you, a distorted view. Or, Marcus, hear me on this and everybody else in the chat. I'm getting ready to preach for about 35 seconds. Y'all count. It might not be what you think. It might not be that people have a distorted view of you. It might be that people have an accurate view of you and you're the last one to see it. What's the old saying? If you can't figure out who the mark is, it's because of you're being the mark. You're the one. When everyone is saying, or a lot of folks are saying the same thing about you, then it's probably true. There are some people that are going to say the wrong thing. But if the overwhelming majority, or if it's 50-50, if the 50-50 narrative is that some folks like you, the other folks that don't like you are saying the same thing, it's true. So what I do with men, I tell men, one, figure out what you want to be. I need you to paint a picture. I want to be this person. I want to be that person. I want to be this person. Even if it's a fictitious character on TV, I want to be just like this. How do I get there? Where I am. And then here's what you do. Go and ask, because the second part of the assignment is the third part, because I asked you what you want to be, and then 2, write down what you are. And then 3, what do people, Sheila, I'm sorry, Sheila, give me 35 more seconds. Give me 35 more seconds, and then we're gonna shout and hoop. Even though we ain't all Pentecostal, we're gonna shout and hoop. I might even speak in tongues for you. But give me 35 more seconds. But this is the third step. The third step is this. Go ask everybody what they think about you. Who? Don't ask just your friends and family. Go ask the people that love you, the people that hate you, and the people that don't really have concern. Why? If you start finding some identifying traits that everyone has in common, that's you. You know what? You're arrogant. The people that love you say you're arrogant. The people that hate you say you're arrogant. The people in between say, well, you know what? Let me write that down. I is arrogant. Now, there's usually some truth to what everyone says. Not always. Your haters are going to hate. That's right. On the day of Pentecost, there were mockers who did what? They mocked. But there's always, in many cases, not always, but in many cases, some level of truth. If the people who love you are saying the same thing that people who don't like you are saying, well, then guess what? Now, you go to your page, Marcus. There are people who love you, say, man, that wasn't you. You're arrogant. You're prideful. Take that and then learn from it. When they had me in this prison cell and I'm on my back and I'm crying out, Lord, why am I here? God, you made a mistake. Imagine, God, listen, Lord, Are you listening? God, you made a mistake. Why am I here? I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't. I said 35 seconds, 40 seconds ago. You're right. I'm sorry. Y'all get the organ going. Get the organ going so I can start hooping. Lord, you made a mistake. You made a mistake, God. I shouldn't be here. I felt like the Lord, when I'm asking, why am I here amongst all of these, the worst? When I say, listen, Beaumont is called Bloody Beaumont for a reason. Why am I here? I'm around the worst of the worst. And I just felt like the Lord just kind of put a calming influence in my spirit because these are your people. They're just like you. You know how long it takes you to realize that that's who you are? How long it takes for you to accept that? Dog, I'm not as good as I thought I was? Huh. Now you understand the Gospel of Corey. The Gospel of Corey, if I was to write a book right behind John, the Gospel of Corey wouldn't be very long. Wouldn't be very long. It would be, you are, say it with me, $5 worth of dirt on a good day. That's with inflation. You truthfully are about $1.70. Some of y'all about 86 cents worth of dirt. Some of y'all listen, but you're redeemed dirt. You are redeemed. Let the redeemed say so. Say what? Say that God redeemed some trash like me. Praise God, hallelujah. That way you don't think highly of yourself. That way you do what Jesus says. By the way, why we go to the Greek sometimes, we get to see when he says that he must deny himself. It looks like it's in the aorist tense because so it's past tense one time. No, you have to live a life of denying yourself. So if you are really saved, your heart is going to be torn by your past sins, your present sins, and the thought of any future sins. Doesn't mean those sins take you away from the Lord, but you are grieved by that. How in the world do you expect God, who knows he's already overcome the world, not be grieved by the future sins of yours? You're not bothered by that. You're not bothered by how disgusting you look. You're not bothered by how bad you are. That's where you have to have a come to Jesus moment, so to speak, and realize I ain't that good. And so therefore, I'm always expecting myself to fall or to fail. And that way I stay alert. Marcus, you have to do that. The rest of you guys, you do the same thing. The difference is Marcus has got 800-something subscribers. And so what he says, his mistakes are magnified. And now Marcus might be the worst of the worst, or he could be misunderstood. He could be just kind of thrown off, just not really, And so there is where you have this, there's a level of maturing that has to happen. There's a time where you realize I'm not what I used to be or what I think I am. I'm saved, but
you can be saved and stupid. Tweet that. You can be saved and stupid.
I'm going to pray that when I get to heaven, that Lord, when I get there, can I take that clip with me? I want to take that clip. No, actually that clip would be outdated. If you're in heaven, you can't be, it won't happen. But right now, you can be saved and stupid. No ifs, ands, buts about it, right? So I'm open to somebody looking like the worst of the worst and not being as bad, but I'm also open to someone who we think are that good. And then, you know what? That guy's he's worse than trash. He is underneath the trash can. You know, the sludge, the what leaks. You ever seen those old metal? Y'all don't see that yet. This for the older folk. These folks who are long in the tooth, folks with some gray hair, or if you really been blessed, no hair. You seen those old metal trash cans, those drums that we used to put trash in, or if you was in my neighborhood, we used them to kind of keep warm. You light them bad boys up, and you see the guys on the corner of the street singing, the doo-wop singing on the, yeah, I'm sorry, y'all don't know anything about that. But underneath that is some gunk. You push that trash, it's some gunk. I've seen some guys who I thought were top notch, but really were that trash underneath there. I've seen that. And so, Corey, why have you not marked and avoided Marcus Rogers? I deal with trash on a daily basis. I am the biblical trash man. I tell you guys to avoid him. I've told Marcus that. Yeah, we can't. Yeah, people got to stay away from you because some of the stuff that you say, the things you do. Me, I go in there wide out. I know you're no good. My children. I said I said my little bad grandbaby. Stop calling him bad. Why would I stop calling him bad? Have you seen it? Because we all are bad. Isn't that what's the first message of the gospel? That there's none good, no, not one. Including that little 2-year-old, 3-year-old, the 4-year-old. My 4 or 5-year-old grandson is as smart aleck as he can be. My 2-year-old, he'll cut you. I tell him, the 2-year-old, demons flee from him. Yeah, when he's awake, demons are quiet. When he sleep, That's when y'all getting attacked. The demons are like, it's safe to come out now because little 2-year-old Corey is asleep. My 9-year-old granddaughter, she's as sweet as she can be. As sweet as she can be. But she's sneaky. The 13-year-old granddaughter. Ladies and gentlemen, can you trust a 13-year-old girl? So he might be. He might be. I'm always open. I told y'all about Big Arkansas. Big Arkansas was a bully in prison. Yes, I'm a grandpa. I'm the coolest grandpa in the history of grandpas. I told y'all about Big Arkansas. He was a bully in prison. Now, when you're in prison, you're a bully. That says something. Big Arkansas was about 6'4", maybe 6'5", and close to 350, 360, and was strong. Yeah, he could curl bulls and ox. He was a big old boy. And I remember he choked this guy out over a piece of fish. Choked him out and gently laid him down and ate his fish in front of him. So I went and shared the gospel with him. He placed his faith in Christ, but he was a hard one. He wanted to fight, wanted to hurt some people. I mean, this is a brutal guy. So I'll talk to you. This. It might not be. It might not be. The issue of me going, I was not going for the benefit of Marcus. I was going for the benefit of the name of the Lord and for that baby in truth. That was it. So that being the case, there's a lot wrong with Marcus. My plea with Marcus is, man, just take it. Take it and learn from it. Because the Daystar issue is not you. The issue with you is you. You grow and you deal with you. If you feel like everyone has misunderstood you, well then grow humbly, learn from what everyone is saying. You were actually given a blessing from the Rock Leeches of the world, from the Ray Currys of the world. By the way, you guys, make sure y'all go over and check those channels out and subscribe. Do we agree on everything? No, we do not. But we are brothers and sisters in the Lord. They now they could be wrong. I could be wrong. They seem genuine. They could now. Listen, they might have some little kids kidnapped in their basement. I don't think so. I don't know. But from what I'm seeing in their channel, make sure you go and check them out. By the way, anyone else have a channel, let me know. So at the end, I'll let everyone else know to go and check. I want more Christian channels. I want Christians to dominate YouTube. I want Christians to dominate Facebook, to dominate Twitter, X, Twix. I want them to dominate every piece of social media. Let them know that we're here. Amen. I thought you were against hypercharismatics. Why are you I'm not fellowshipping with Marcus. I'm not fellowshipping with Marcus. Can anyone in the world talk to me? Sure. Matter of fact, most people that talk to me, just like most people that talk to you guys, are as ungodly as they come. When I walk into the store and they talk to me, and it's just me. I'm not easily swayed by those people because I used to live with them. I was 13 years with those people, and when I say the worst of the worst, the worst of the worst. No. Marcus was not going to invite me to Texas. I'm in Dallas. I am about 20, 30 minutes away from Daystar. So that might have been one of the big reasons why he wanted me to come with. I'm right there. And he knew that he wanted someone else to come out. I told him, you need to take somebody there with you. Plus, all the criticism that I give to Marcus, Marcus is more than willing and more than welcome to come and ask, hey, Corey, what do you think? And I'll tell him. I don't cut it sweet with him. If you talk to me and I say, hey, you need this, you need that, I have no problem telling a grown man, you need to grow up. You need this, you need that. And I could be wrong. But that's why I will talk to anyone, but will not compromise to anyone. Are you with me? Corey, why are you talking to him? Well, doggone it. And I'm not saying you, Pastor. But if I don't talk to them, who's going to talk to them? Somebody got to talk to them. Well, how will God use them? How will God deal with? God is going to use somebody, and it might not be that person, but it might be Frank or Bob or George. Amen.